This is Hardy Brute, and today I'm going to be playing the Beast and the Princess. This is a tower defense game that seems pretty simplistic at first, but as you unlock more units, more skills, more stat points, there's quite a bit of strategy involved. You start the game with 3 units, the Fighter, the Knight, and the Archer. You're only allowed to buy 2 of each unit. You can upgrade the units, and they all have unique abilities that take away from a single mana source. Every single time you attack, you actually get mana. So it's a good strategy at the start just to fill out your board with units, so they can fill up your mana and use your abilities as you choose. If you look at the bottom there, it says Aerial, Metal, Boss. It tells you what kind of wave you're going to fight. The aerial flying units can only be attacked by our archer. It doesn't matter if we have a knight or the fighter out, they're just not going to do anything. Their abilities don't hit them either. The metal units, on the other hand, no matter what you do, they always take 1 damage per hit. So the units are kind of balanced, because the archer has a lot of range, has decent attack. The fighter attacks slowly, but hits very, very hard. And the knight attacks very quickly, but doesn't do a lot of damage. So you want a good balanced team to fight each different level. They also have super abilities. The archer does a barrage attack, which stuns units for a little bit. The fighter does 1 big slash damage. And the knight does a rapid fire burst, where he gets even more hits if the enemy is stunned. So there's some synergy between the knights and the archers. And learning where to best position your units, when to use their abilities, that's how the strategy comes into play. We have some pretty good coverage, with a knight in the front, knight in the back, archer in the front, archer in the back, and the fighters in the middle. And the knight's ability hits 5 times, but if they're stunned, it actually goes up to 9 times. The archer started off with 3 damage, his level 2 is 5, and his level 3 is 8 damage. So it's definitely important learning what units to level up, which ones are more impactful, because the knights are always going to have really low damage. Their goal is to just attack very quickly. But leveling up also affects their special ability. Our level 3 archer does 40 damage, where he started off doing 16 if we'd use this ability. So you could throw all your gold into just 1 unit, and make their ability super strong. There's also a mechanic of combo. So every time you use an ability, the combo meter fills up, and it sort of times out, but if you keep the combo going higher and higher, you'll get more free gold. And so having the enemy in positions where you can chain combos, get it higher and higher, and get a bunch of free gold, is a pretty cool concept. You do have to make sure, though, that you keep enough gas for the boss so that you can kill him, because I believe you instantly lose if he reaches the end. And the boss usually has some sort of trait. So usually he's a metal boss, a flying boss, a normal boss, some sort of ability. So you have certain units, certain strategies that'll work best on it. Our fighters already do 15 damage, and the knight does 3, and the archers do around 8. But the level ups cost more and more, they double each time. And his big power attack does 176 damage. I'm mainly saving my mana right now, in case we start getting overrun, or for the boss. But with only 3 units unlocked, and only 6 positions, we're just going to fill out the board. And the strategy doesn't really vary in the very first level. That big bunny got pretty far, actually. From 22 to 33 damage. But the next upgrade costs 250 gold. That is quite a bit. I am losing some gold by not spamming all my abilities, but we're pretty close to the boss. I will use some on these metal slimes, though. They have a ton of health. And the level-ups don't help at all, because I don't think you gain attack speed from level-ups. And now we're fighting the huge caterpillar. He looks like a normal boss. He's also accompanied by flying units, and it takes 3 hits for our archers to kill them. So we definitely need some more level ups in our archers. so at least we can 2-tap them. But I'm going to use his ability, push him off, and kind of reset that wave there. I'm waiting for the Caterpillar to reach the middle, so that all their skills can hit at the same time. The Archer Barrage hits 4 times, the Knight hits 5 times, and the Fighter hits only once, but it does a big slash. But because we got them stunned there, you get 9 hits, 2 big 450s, and we ran out of mana. For all those combos, we had 140 gold. We ran out of mana, but I think we got it here. He was moving pretty slow. So let's head back to the world map. You can replay the battles, but you also get unlockables here. So now we start the battles with 25 gold. The max mana increases up to 600. And we unlocked a new unit, the Sorcerer. And the unit's basic attacks also give you 3 mana now, instead of just 2. And the more power you have at the start of the fight, and throughout the fight, gives you more choices. So we unlock the Sorcerer. She attacks in an area, and she can also attack flying units. Her ability is also pretty cool. It does 3 times damage if it only hits a single unit. So she's pretty good at the boss. But as you can see with the last boss, he also has minions that come along with him. So the timing of your abilities becomes a big part of the strategy. And now that we have 4 units and only 6 spots, we're gonna have to start making some choices. But I really like the Sorcerer so far. And for our final units, I think we're gonna have 2 Archers, 2 Sorks, and probably go with the Fighters, because their single target damage is kind of insane. Last time at the boss, they hit 450 damage, twice. I do think the Sork has the potential to out-damage them though. We're doing ×3 damage on the boss. I want to see how much damage that's going to be. Dump all our gold into them. And with the Fighters, killing off a single unit, it'll hopefully help the Sork be able to use its ability for 3 times the damage. We also have the Archers that attack relatively fast, and its ability hits 4 times. So I'm not too concerned about the metal fight coming up. Our level 1 Fighter only does 4 damage per smack, but his ability does 32. His ability is really strong. The level 2 Sork only does 17 damage with her ability. That's not even ×3 yet. So now we got 6 units, and we got maximum mana generation. We also got maximum gold generation. When we stack the combos, we have luckily 600 mana, and we can use all 6 of our abilities at once. Well, I'm not sure anything besides the boss is going to survive that. I have noticed that the Sork upgrades have been kinda limited. She only has 7 damage at level 3, and she's been getting 3-4 damage per upgrade. But she does have an OP area effect ability, and her range is really good. She now has 10 damage. And this wave in particular, I'm really glad we focused on these Sorks. Hitting a big area was a massive help. And even though we're only going to be doing 1 damage to the Metal Knights, the Sork can hit all the units around it, and help clear the board at least. But I am going to have to start by using our Archer ability. It's the only thing that hits multiple times, and we have no Knights to take care of them. But luckily this wave does seem doable. We do have to stagger our Archer ability though. We have just enough cooldown to go from one slime to the next. And luckily it looked like we made it past the slime wave. And that was our biggest threat. But we should be stronger now, since we didn't invest any into the Knights. Although the next wave is aerial, I still think we're going to be stronger against the boss. Because we do have 4 anti-air units, and 2 burst units, and the Sorks themselves have really good burst. I've also noticed the level after you get a new unit is usually the level you have to use that unit in. There were a lot of grouped units here, and the area damage was kind of a necessity. Our ability to fight air units also grew a bunch. And so our level 4 fighter does 120 damage on his ability. The level 6 Sork does 84 damage on her ability. And I really want to level her up one more time before the boss. Get just enough gold here. Now her ability does 115. And her basic attacks are 30. Another giant bunny. He looks like another normal boss. Although we've never actually fought a caterpillar before. Besides the boss. And so I'm starting to think that the Sork doesn't do as much damage as the fighter does. 115 times 3 is only about 340. But we'll see what the actual damage is when we use it. Get a stun off. With the flying units, it's also pretty hard to clear the enemies to get a single target burst off. Because I don't think our level 7 Sork there hit. I think she just did the basic damage. 256, 180. The level 6 Sork did 391. So they actually do more damage than is displayed. Because our level 7 Sork didn't get single target, but our level 6 one did. So I'm not actually quite sure. I really enjoy the Sorks though. Even if their single target might be less than the fighters. So now we can speed up the battles. Start with 800 mana? That sounds good. And we're fighting the boss. This looks to be about the mid-boss. So now we can play with 2 times speed, which is perfect because this boss wave has 10 waves. Wow. It's starting off right away with a metal wave. So we put 2 knights in the front. They will attack very quickly. Hopefully they can clear it by themselves. But I think I'm going to go back to the knights and the archer combination. Both units attack very quickly. They'd both be good against the slimes. And the archers will just increase the damage that the knights can do when we both use their abilities. So I'm going to try to use all 3 of their abilities to get some extra cash. We didn't actually have enough mana for the third one. But we had a 9-hit combo, and we got 10 free gold. So I suppose that's good. We had a 9-hit combo, but we could have had an 18. How much that would have affected the 10 gold we got, I'm not really sure. But in the very first level, we focused on the fighters doing 1 big hit. In the second level, we kind of focused on the sorcerers, seeing how much their 3 times damage could be. And then in this third level, I think I'm going to focus on the knights. Dump all my gold into the knights, and see how much their combo with the archer can do. For our final 2 units, I think I'm going to get 2 Sorks again. Because they're the only units that can attack air with the archers. And they also have area effect. And their own burst attack. Their additional range is also more useful than the fighter, since they can pretty much hit where the archers are, even though they're in the back. So my goal is to level up the knight as high as I can. Maybe both the knights, but definitely just one of the knights. This wave in particular, it's good that we had the Sorks too. Especially with all the air units and the grouped units. It looks like I've got 1 more Metal Knight, and 1 more Air Wave. Metal Knights, Metal Slimes. That's what they called the monsters in Dragon Quest. There's lots of different variations of slimes, and there's even knights that ride on the slimes, so they called them Metal Knights. And just like these units, they took 1 damage from attacks. 14 hit combo at 30 gold. 18 combo at 54 gold. Seems like the gold is almost multiplicative. The higher the combo, the more the gold grows really fast. And our units are kind of limited at the moment, we only got 4. But the fighters and the Sorks, they only had 1 to the combo. So it'd be really cool to create a team that just generates gold. Try to get the combo as high as possible, and see how much gold we can get. These high health units are really good for generating combo. 22 at 144, 28 at 214, and we even got to 31 and it stayed the same. So there could be a cap. Or there's breaking points. At that point you might need 40, 50 combo, and then you'd start jumping up in gold. But I'm not really sure. We don't really have the ability to go much higher than 31 combo right now. With the units we got, the mana we got. So we'll just have to see in later levels. So a big group here of just normal enemies. These should primarily be metals. Luckily our Sork ability, even though it does triple damage when it hits just one unit, it still does an area effect damage. The big flying mini-bosses. We're gonna have to invest some of our money back into our archers, our Sorks, just to take care of this air unit here. This is the last air wave. So hopefully the boss isn't an air unit, or some sort of special type. On to wave 8. The knight upgrades are now crazy expensive. 450 gold, 350 gold. So he's doing 25s, the archer does 45s, and our best unit does 55 per smack. The combination also increases the damage, I see. It says it right underneath it. So that'd be why their special abilities sometimes do more damage than it states. Our current setup is actually really good for the Sork Burst. Our front two units can get a really high combination going. And these Sorks can smack for an extra 100, 200% damage. So that's not even something I was thinking about. But I still want to put all of the gold into our knights, just to see if they can do the damage on their own. But the upgrades are now costing 500 plus gold. And we're already fighting the boss. I don't think we can actually afford any more upgrades. The Jumbo Scorpion. He's actually moving quite a bit faster than the last two bosses. I have to wait for him to get into the range of the archers. So we get the stun off, get the combo off. It's hitting for 50s and 60s. Times 9 hits. That's around 540 damage. And that is with a level 9 knight though. We started the combo a little bit early, so we lost combo a few times. But we're doing some big smacks here. The archer hit for 80s at the end. And we probably could have got enough mana to use one more ability before we reached the end. But we didn't need to. Locked a new class, the Guard. The skill scroll, which increases the stats and the abilities of your units. Increased damage, increased burst damage, burst cooldown, more air damage, more knockback, increased damage to metal knights. That's pretty interesting. Now let's increase the attack range of these Sorks, who already have a massive attack range. So I think the Sork is my favorite unit. And let's go on to the next battle. The really nice thing about those scrolls too is you can pivot and change however you want. So if a specific battle needs specific units, you can retry again and again until you kind of find the right combination, or whatever you really want to play with. Look how far away our Sork is attacking. She's in the back lane too. It just fills up so much of the field. And our new guard units has very small attack range, but they have a little knockback effect. And we barely killed that bunny, thanks to our attack range. Let's get some archers. I think the archers are my second favorite unit. The guard's ability, it hits 3 times, and it also sends the unit all the way back to the start. But just like with their basic attack and their ability, and as soon as a unit is knocked back, they start gaining resistance to that effect. So there's a CC debuff. If you use the guard's ability twice, the second time he's not actually going to get pushed back at all. So that's something to keep in mind. So we got 2 archers, 2 Sorks, 1 knight, and 1 guard. Our team is very good against the Metal Knights though, which we started fighting at the start of this level. We got a couple more waves till the boss, so let's generate some gold. From 21 to 53, stayed at 53, but it jumps to 96 gold. So I really do think there's a threshold for the combo. It's not for every single hit, it's for a total. Or maybe the number of skills used. At least that's what it feels like. But learning to exploit the combo is going to be a big part of the game. I also think it's a waste to upgrade the guards. He gained 2 damage, and his knockback is exactly the same. From 3 to 5 damage, that's not enough to do pretty much anything. It's definitely a lot cheaper than our units that are costing 300 gold, but I feel like you're just wasting your money that way. It's better to get just one more upgrade with a unit. We got a ton of money this wave. We started at like 100 gold. So all our big DPSs are upgraded now. Let's stun, get the combo off. The guard's attack range is incredibly small, so I had that one little window right there to really knock him back. Otherwise we probably would have lost. Do 3 times damage, 3 times damage. Yeah, the attack range on this orc actually played a huge part in that fight. Because we had just enough damage to kill that boss. So let's move on, let's get some more goodies. Up to 800 max mana, we can chain a lot more combos there. Extra skill scroll. And the 6 battle. We could upgrade the metal damage, which make it so we don't even have to use the knights. But let's increase the fighter's damage by 30%. And go back to using the fighters. But their base attack at level 1 is 5. That is pretty massive. There's also a new type of enemy now, the demons. They have a damage threshold at the top left corner under the ×2 speed. And if you don't do enough damage, you just do 0 to them. The fighters seem pretty essential in this wave. Let's also use our Sorks because they have the 50% attack range boost. But as you can see, they're doing 0s. They're going to be really bad against the demons. But they'll help kill the aerial wave later at least. Because our Sorks are only hitting 3 at the start. They upgrade to 4. It's pretty terrible. But it's still area damage. Let's get an archer. The last guy cost 100 gold. I'm pretty sure the fighters can carry us through most of these waves. But we do have that one flying wave near the end. Its ability already does 120 damage. Now let's get a safety guard right at the end, so we can push the boss all the way back to the start, and double our damage on him. The demons are also scaling. Now they have 8 defense, and the only ones doing damage are our 2 fighters. But they are up to about 28 damage now. And his ability hit there for 176. Which is pretty good for a level 4. The archers are going to scale a little bit faster than the Sorks. But we need all 3 of those units decently high to take care of this airwave. And start using some of our abilities. Push off the wave, stay alive. Sadly, even the guard's ability won't push back the air, even though it doesn't do damage to it. Keep leveling up our anti-air. And we'll need the fighters for the boss here. And we're back to 800 mana. The chubby demon. So the boss is actually a demon, and he has a 15 damage threshold. Which our fighters don't actually care about at all. But they do 30% more damage. But that doesn't affect their burst ability. 78 damage per smack. 250. A lot of big bursts. And let's knock him back. And he's already dead. Nice. We had to overkill that wave. So let's get more goodies. Instead of 25, we have 35 gold now. Get a passive skill, it seems like. Increase the power and mana cost of the fighter. That's pretty good. Increase the knight's attack range. Increase heavy stun durations for the Archer's Burst. These are pretty interesting. I think I'm going to increase the range of our knights too. So we just have massive range. It also says that you could re-roll and choose a different treasure, I believe. And now we have 4 slots, so we have it up to 8 units. This is the last fight, the last boss, in Act 1. And I'm not actually sure how many acts there are. But our knights have increased range, so do our Sorks, and our fighters have increased basic attack. So our team is looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with our choices so far. Let's get the Archer for the stun combination. Sork in the back. She can actually attack right at the fighter's position. My Sork has so much range. Upgrade the fighter because we're going to have some demon waves coming up. And because the guard's ability reduces every time you use it, I don't really see a point in getting 2 guards. I think it's pretty essential and pretty necessary to have at least 1 for the boss though. Because at least at the moment, you don't have a ton of CC. You get the stun from the archers, and the knockback from the guards. All our other abilities just do damage in different forms. A massive combo hit with lots of hits. A big burst hit times 3 if they're solo. Or just one big slash. That normal wave is very fast, those bunnies. So we're going to need a second Sork for sure. I'm going to try to control that ball of units. So far the wave's going pretty good. We've had some close calls though. Especially with the bunnies who have so much health. 25 combo, 29 combo. We only got 48 gold for that. So I have no clue how that works. The next unit, because we have 6, it's gonna cost 300 gold. I think the previous unit only cost 800 gold. So there's definitely a balance between upgrading your units, getting more units, and generating mana so you get the free gold too. I'd like to put a guard up front, give us some more CC. Then focus on leveling up our units again. I do think there's a legit strat though, to not really level up your units, and kind of focus on the combo burst damage. Because otherwise they don't just get one shot, and you get the combo meter pretty high. Now that one unit took 3 bursts. Flying is definitely an issue for us right now. And we go from one flying to another flying wave. And the final unit costs 500 gold. That is so much. I think it's better spent on level ups right now. Would be much more impactful. So we got some good CC, some pushback. And this is supposed to be the flying wave. But there's a lot of normal units involved too, which is good for us. As long as we don't have to fight those big flying guys, I am pretty happy. Still far away from getting our final unit. The Metal Knights shouldn't be an issue for us. Got a lot of attack speed, a lot of units. And got a free 100 gold there. And I find it interesting that the fighters can be upgraded to do 2 damage to the metal slimes, but not the knights. The knights naturally attack very, very fast, and if they did 2 damage, they'd become an anti-metal wave just by themselves, and I think that'd be pretty cool. Not sure the fighters need that ability though. It'd be really fun on the knights. The demons have 16 damage threshold. Even our archer, who does 18, barely breaks through. But this is a pretty easy wave here. And they still get knocked back. So our guard's still doing his job. Get a fighter in the end, so we can do a burst in the front and a burst in the end. And let's see how much money we can get right before the boss, because this is the last wave. The bunnies, the normals, they all go pretty slow. Secure our front and back fighters. And the Tyro King. He's got a little crown, nice. And at least his eyes aren't red. So he's not an evil bunny. Stun to the combo. 14 hit. Do the burst. And it's just knock him back. Stun him. Do a burst. But now we're dealing with cooldowns. Because we have the mana. But we can only use 2 abilities. But we have just enough damage. We probably could have burst 3 or 4 more times till we reached the end. But that was the end of Act 1. So let's move on to Act 2. We unlocked the Witch. It starts off right away giving you units, that's pretty cool. The Dragon Knight. 2 new units. Another skill scroll. And another skill scroll. That is awesome. So the Witch can increase your mana gain. And the Dragon can attack air units. Interesting. Well, I hope you enjoyed. If you'd like to see more, let me know. But I'll see you later.